Alrighty, what's up? So, unfortunately, it looks like I might have to be the bearer of bad news. Um, Look like our stay here may be coming to an end. I'm not 100% sure yet, but it's looking like it. And I'll talk about that in a moment. Struggled through the different reasons on struggled through trying to exhaust all options to make things work, but it's almost practically impossible, it seems. I think the straw that broke the camel's back was last night, so and there's a few other straws that would have broken the camel's back for many other folks. So, and I'll give you an update. So, a few weeks ago, maybe I think 2 weeks ago, I told you all that some of the medicines that Haley is taking for her schizophrenia, they ran out in Mexico. Nobody really knows the real story, but there's one lab that produces her medication along with a bunch of other medication, and some rumors are out that the government shut them down. Some say it's politically motivated. Others say the government wanted to drastically reduce the cost of medicines, and the pharmaceuticals didn't want to do that, so they're the stalemate because didn't want to lower their prices because the government demanded them. Other stories circulating is that what's the other one? That there was some cross contamination. The government agency did an investigation and found that residue from other medicines that were being manufactured in the lab was being cross contaminated with the other medicines they were producing in the lab. So nobody really even knows what the real reason is. But all they know is the government shut down the lab that manufactured the medicines, this one particular lab, for 4 months. It's been shut down for 4 months, so there's been no medicines coming out for 4 months. So when you go to the government Facebook page, you see thousands of comments from Mexicans, local millions of Mexicans here in Mexico, begging and pleading for them to release the medicine, because now themselves, along with their family members, are, for lack of a better word, are starting to lose their mind and not be able to function well without their medication. So obviously the medications are doing a great job. Folks have already lost their job, and you see these stories from people posting on the Facebook, in the Facebook page. Many folks have lost their jobs because they're unable to function and do the work. You see mothers online typing and pleading with the government to please release the medicines, because I'm having to give my children up to other family members to take care of them, because I'm no longer in a mental state or a state of mind to take care of my children. Folks are having to drop out of school. Psychiatrists are reporting that suicide rates have went up significantly since the medications have been held at bay. So, but and I've talked about this, moving to different countries, places do things differently. They have their own way. It doesn't have to make sense to us because we're not from here, but some things just don't make sense no matter how you look at it, whether it's a cultural thing or not. It just doesn't make sense. So for example, there's multiple labs in the country that produce medicines, but the lab for Haley's medicines, they're the only lab that produces it. None of the other labs produce it. So if this lab goes offline or goes down or burns down in the fire or crashes from an earthquake, there's no backup, because this is the only lab that makes it. Now, this lab don't only just make psychiatric medicine, but a lot of it they do. They also make medicines for high blood pressure, diabetes, and some other medications. In fact, lots of surgeries having to be canceled, life-saving surgeries having to be canceled or rescheduled, because the same lab produces anesthesia medicine that put people to sleep or numb the pain. So there's a shortage of that. But Haley's medicine is non-existent in Mexico. So we went through a phase, and we had a surplus, but we finally ran out of the surplus. But we went through the phase where this is a drug where you just don't want to abruptly stop. You have to wean it down. And so what we started doing when we realized it was difficult to find medicine, decreasing the dosage and the effort to make it stretch until some more came out, with the hope that it was coming out. The pharmacies kept telling us, the local pharmacies, they're on the way, they're on the way, they're on the way. So you just keep hoping and hoping and hoping. And so we got to a point where we actually did finally run out. And prior to running out, I was on the phone calling labs and other pharmacies in different countries to see if they had the medicine, but they didn't. United States, for her particular medicines, they make it extremely difficult for people to get the medicine. And they make it difficult for physicians to prescribe the medicine because while although they admit and acknowledge that it is the #1 antipsychotic medication that works extremely well, better than anything, they make the requirements difficult. So for example, in the United States, in order to get this medicine, you have to go get blood testing every week, every 7 days for 6 months straight. They give you a 7-day supply, you go get the blood test, to get in the system, then you get 7 more days. Then you go back 7 days later, do the blood work, and get 7 more. You gotta do that for 6 months. And so the physicians don't prescribe it because it requires more manpower and work from them because they have to log into the system, they have to verify that it works. The pharmacies have to the pharmacies got to check the system to make sure the blood work was done before they give you the medicine. And doctors got to check it before, to see if it was done, read the blood work, make sure everything is right before they can. It's a big old mess, so they make it difficult. Although this drug is the first medicine that many other countries abroad use in the treatment of many mental illness issues, whereas in the United States, it's the medicine of last resort. They try everything else first, and if nothing works, then they put this, they give it, so it could take years before. So somebody asked, well, how come you can't go to the United States? That's why we can't go back to the States. I talked to several U.S. physicians, and they flat out told me if I come back to the States, they're likely to take her off the medicine and try some other stuff. And when you take her off the medicine, only to find out maybe years later that it might be the only one that worked, it's not as effective. So I know a lot of y'all will probably come on and say, well, this medicine will work just as good and this and that. We had great results and we were seeing benefits from it until they ran out. So the logic behind having one lab that produces medication for the whole country in a certain, in the psychiatric medicines or blood pressure or heart health or anesthesia, that in itself is crazy because they can go offline or something happen. And then as we're dealing with it now, the whole country's screwed. There is no medicine for several medicines. There's like a laundry list of medicines. I'm not talking about 1 or 2 medicines. There is a bunch of medicine that is just not available, no longer available in Mexico where it once was available. So naturally, a lot of Haley's symptoms have started coming back because the reduction in her medicine is making it stretch. Been without for a short spell until we got some more. Thank you, Mo. My friend Mo and her friend Jim was very instrumental. I was able to find about a 90-day supply in the United States, and Mo coordinated with a friend of hers who had a plane that got the medicine to the guy with the plane, and he flew it into Merida, and we were able to get about a 90-day supply. And so she's back on her medicine, and we're slowly titrating it back up to try and get her back going to where she's at. So however, in the interim, she's having symptoms. And you often heard me talk about this. In Other countries, they do things differently. Remember how I always tell you that sometimes when you're waiting on, say, somebody to come fix your plumbing or somebody to come fix your pipes or somebody to come do some gardening, they say, I'll be there at 3 o'clock. And then they don't show up. Or they show up 3 days later, they don't call, they don't tell you anything. Well, unfortunately, the same thing seems to happen in medicine. So you got doctors, you start off with some of these doctors, they're great. They start off really well and then they just slowly just wade off. For example, one doctor called and was like, oh, my dad is sick. I'm gonna be taking an indefinite amount of time off. I'll be back when I get back. Hadn't heard from him. Another one of the kids' therapists, same thing. He wasn't feeling well. He was under the weather. Same thing. He disappeared. But they start off so wonderful. And for Haley's treatment, we need a little bit of stability and consistency for the treatment and therapy that she needs. And right now, we're just not getting that with the psychiatrists nor the psychologists, psychotherapy, cognitive behavioral therapists, and stuff like that. In fact, again, just to give you an example of some of the cultural ways, we have found a new psychiatrist because the other one went away for a few months with no warning, no backup doctor to follow up, no recommendations. He went away, and so we found another doctor. Going to our first appointment. We had an appointment for 5 p.m. En route to the appointment, it was like 4:45. He calls and said he's going to be about 2 hours behind, and he wanted to change the time and wanted to know if I can come at 7. Now, mind you, I'm about 5 minutes down the road from his office. I'm already en route, and I'm like, dude, I got another appointment at 7:30 or something like that. I can't remember the time. I'm just throwing random times out. I can't do it. I think I already got another commitment. And so he had a problem. And I'm like, dude, we agreed at 5 o'clock. I understand things come up. I understand you might be 30 minutes behind. But you're calling me, telling me you're changing the time from 5 to 7. And I'm just saying I can't be there at 7. So this joker going to tell me that, okay, I had to pay a cancellation fee. I'm like, what do you mean pay a cancellation fee? Man, I promise you I can't make this stuff up. What do you mean I'm gonna pay a cancellation fee? I ain't canceled. You canceled the 5 o'clock appointment by not being able to show up. Not even at a 30 minutes delayed or even an hour delayed. It's 2 hours delayed. You calling me, telling me you're changing the time from 5 to 7, 10 minutes before it's time for the appointment while I'm in the car on my way. You know what I mean? So if that's a normal thing here, that's one thing I can tolerate, but I don't have to, But again, I'm not one to tolerate some foolishness like that and the attitude, because it don't make sense. We had an arranged time. You failed to commit to it. Don't make me pay for it because you're 2 hours late. I understand things happen. It could have been simple as let's reschedule and do another day, not penalize me for your delay and your mess up on the schedule and you running over the time. It's not me. I'm already in my car wasting my gas and my time. So little nuances like that. But so it's all of this stuff adding up to cause a compounding effect. So with stuff like that, the lab shutting down, and now there's no medicines, and now even her second medication is a shortage. They're about to be ran out of that. So it's like, just can't win here. You know what I mean? So the lab been shut down. Nobody knows the real reason. What else? He's can't get the medicines. But here's the icing on the cake. So we ended up getting another psychiatrist yesterday, met up for the first time. Thought, felt it was gonna be great, and it was a great meeting. So he gave us. So Haley started having some very severe symptoms yesterday, crisis, for lack of a better word. So, we decided to take her to the hospital. Went to Faro Hospital. Said, look, this is what's going on. I don't know if y'all can hold her for a night or two, sedate her a little bit. The psychiatrist can see her in the morning just to keep her safe, make sure she's straight, nothing happened. So we get there. They like, well, we don't have the facilities to manage mental health crisis. But here's a hospital called Korea Hospital, which is a Korean hospital built by Koreans and the Mexican government together to help lower income families, particularly children. So he was like, this is more like an adolescents hospital with all the resources. They will take her if you go. So we drove there last night. This is by the airport. Got down there. I thought it was I thought I was like, wow, there's a big Korean population here. They got their own hospital. They got together and built their own hospital. So went there, same thing. Unfortunately, we love to help. However, we can't, we don't have the resources for this type of intervention. So, she recommended the psychiatric hospital down in Central. Went to that place. Of course, they're looking at her, asking her questions. Do you feel like, you're a threat to yourself or harm to yourself? And, she's answering them and, they getting their answers and they like, well, because she's under 18, she's not an adult, we can't hold her. We can't really do anything for her here. Y'all just go back home, watch her, call a doctor in the morning. You know what I'm saying? In the United States with something like that, they would generally hold you for a couple of days in the hospital just to make sure, no harm come to you and whatnot. I can say we were doing great till they ran out of medicine, till they shut the lab down for a reason nobody really knows. And I think you have all these people on the Facebook. There's a Facebook group for the government organization that shut this lab down. And I don't know if I said this already, but moms on there pleading, I can't take care of my children. I'm not in my right state of mind. They're having to get their children up. People having to quit their job or get fired because they're unable to function without the medicine. Dropping out of school, college, can't go, can't focus, can't do what they need to do. And so not just the individuals been affected, the families have been affected, workplaces have been affected. You know what I mean? So it's, so last night was more or less the straw. And I'm like, I can't. They ain't got no medicine in this country. They've been shut down for 4 months. They the only one that does it. Long-term care with these psychiatrists ain't the greatest. They just randomly disappear. Hospitals can't do anything for you because you're underage. And based on the first 2 hospitals, even if she was of age, their position would still be the same. We don't have the resources for mental illness. So I've been doing some research, looking at many other countries, trying to figure out where to go. Can't go back to the States. I talked to some psychiatrists there. I booked some appointments online for a preliminary appointment assessment via Zoom, and they was like, I think the medicine she's on is gonna be the best course of action, but if you bring her back, they likely gonna take her off. So they suggesting that I don't come back. I find an alternative that will allow me to continue the treatment. Problem is, Mexico don't have the medicine. Now, word is they're gonna be releasing it back out sometime before this month is up. Don't really know, but they've been saying that for months now. We're 4 months in, going into month number 5. The other thing is, I don't want to ever find myself in this situation again, ever. You know what I mean? I had a couple of months supply, and even with that didn't work. Now I'm gonna have to have a 1 year supply to be on the safe side. So I researched a bunch of other companies. Colombia apparently no longer, as of May, will no longer be producing this medicine. Places like Costa Rica, Panama, and several other places, no go. However, Ecuador seemed to have it, and there was a few other European countries that I was looking at that seemed to have it. I've spoken with quite a few doctors in Ecuador to kind of fill them out, find out what their policies are in terms of hospitals. A person shows up in a crisis, what do y'all do? Do y'all turn them away because they're underage? Do you have the facilities to manage them? And I've been reassured by about 7 different doctors that that is not their policies to turn people away. They will typically admit and hold for a set period of time, while their psychiatrists come, the patient psychiatrists come and attend and check things out and give a treatment, a course of treatment. So, you know what I mean? So in the interim, I'm currently looking for someone who can kind of help during the day, keep eyes on Haley while Kim does her thing, and on some of the occasions when I'm out helping folks find houses and stuff like that. That way we have eyes on her 24/7. Her sisters are great with that, but you can get slack with it, and all it takes is one brief minute of Haley like to slip off. They'll do the old rope a dope on a joker. You know what I mean? And like I said, this stuff just come out the blue. We're fine, we're eating, and we're having a great time, we're laughing, having fun, and then in an instant, change. You know what I'm saying? And the girl is fighting it, man. She's a fighter, she's a champ. She fighting this thing, but man, sometimes that thing get a hold on her. And schizophrenia, man, I never really knew what it was like. Nobody knows what it's like until it hits your house. I have a whole new understanding of how this thing works, just to be able to see her laughing and giggling and playing 1 minute, and then the next minute hiding in the bed under the sheets in complete total fear that somebody's about to kick the door down and come kill us all. It's something you don't want to be involved with, I'll tell you that. So as of now, Ecuador is at the top of the list. I got what I'm likely going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. I got a lot of folks. Now, listen, I'm going to make it clear. There's a few folks that I got projects I'm working on, particularly I got a full load in July. So I'll be coming back and forth to fulfill my obligations with our clients and stuff like that. And so I'm not certain of when we're leaving. With the new psychiatrist we got last night, yesterday evening, gave us some new medicines that kind of help her with the urges and impulses. He says it should work relatively quick, and hopefully in the next few days we'll start to see some benefits from that while we're titrating her medication up. If that's the case, that'll buy us some more time and kind of plan and take our time a little better to better plan this trip and to make sure we're going to the right place instead of having a rush. So, but at this stage, it's really time for us, I think, to make an exit. You almost get to a point of it's being irresponsible to stay now that I know for 100% certainty that the hospitals ain't gonna do nothing and can't do anything, or so they say. 3 hospitals last night. And these are one of the hospitals, a brand new, the most modern hospital. Now, the hospital I've been in the hospital before. Beautiful hospital. They provide excellent service. I'm in no way saying that the healthcare system here is bad, but mental health gets the short end of the stick in all parts of the world, it seems. Now there's some countries that seem to do a better job, a great job, places like Switzerland, I believe. But mental health, for the most part, in most countries, they get the least amount of resources and help. I'm in the Facebook group with several thousand, about 20, 30,000 family members who have family members with schizophrenia. And they all, when I read their stories, oh my God, they hate the mental health healthcare system in the United States. They all telling me, stay your behind over there. Don't even come back to the mental health system here. The horror stories that I read is just ridiculous, so that's why I'm doing everything I can to try and make it work elsewhere, so that she can get the help that she needs. I want her to have a normal life, so we're not running out of here just yet. We're gonna try and plan this. I might make a quick trip. Haley and I might jump on a plane, go down there for a couple of weeks just to kind of check things out, kind of get her going and kind of get a feel for it. And we may have to go to a couple of other places to kind of compare and see what our options are. I need to get my baby girl on track. I need her safe. I need her well. And this is an unfortunate setback, but it's just we bob and weave. How do you say it? Bob and weave. We go with it. We trying to navigate this thing, and who knows, the next place may be even better, which I'm confident that it will. In talking to the doctors and looking at their policies for certain interventions based on crisis, I feel that it might be a better bet for us in the moment. Merida is still a beautiful place, still recommended. Come here, check it out. Beautiful place to live. I haven't given up on this being our home base. I got a couple of rental properties here, so I'm gonna be back and forth. Kim and the two older girls will probably stick around for a minute while Haley and I kind of bounce over there, check things out, and there may come a time where they all go there, I come back here. I got a lot of stuff I need to work out logistically wise and get some things under control and wrap. So I will be in Merida. I don't know when we're leaving. Could be a couple of months. I know I got quite a few things that I mentioned in July. So I'll be back here in the month of July. Got a lot of obligations to fulfill for July. So I will definitely be back. And got a few projects I got to wrap up in June as well. So I'll be back and forth. Fortunately, Ecuador is not that far away. Other benefit, y'all get a chance to see what it's like in Ecuador. So the same thing I've done here in Merida, I'll do it there. Remember the name of the site is Move Abroad and Thrive, and not Move to Mexico and Thrive. You know what I mean? So Haley's actually looking forward to getting on the road. You know what I mean? So she's like, well, can't wait to see what's going on in Ecuador. And, they're happy. They're excited at the fact that at least it's another Spanish-speaking country where they can continue to improve their Spanish. Cost is, from what I've done online, just the basic research, cost ain't that much different. In some regards, you seem to get more house for your money over there. So that's what I wanted to kind of update y'all with, man. As always, if you find our content helpful, consider making a donation. I got the Cash App on the screen, the Zelle. If you'd like to make a donation by credit card, go to the website, moveabroadandthrive.com. Click on the donate link at the top. If you're doing it from your mobile device, you'll see a little hamburger menu on there. Click that, it'll expand. Click the donate link and you'll see the different options to donate. Participate, join in our membership, a VRP membership, especially when we get to our new destination. We will definitely be highlighting those areas, a lot of stuff for members only. So moveabroadandthrive.com, you'll see a link that says join, I think, or something like that about the VIP. But I just wanted to update you. If you have any questions, I'll probably do a live event on this topic for our current members only. So y'all, if y'all got questions, y'all can ask during the live event and get your questions answered. Again, nothing wrong here. Mental health issues or mental health care, long-term mental health care. If you're dealing with any crisis type stuff, Mexico probably may not be ideal, particularly if you got minors dealing with this type of stuff. I know there's a psychiatric hospital for children, a pediatric psychiatric healthcare system in Mexico City, and from my understanding, it's the only children's psychiatric facility in Mexico. However, the issue is there's no medicine. A lot of the psychiatric medicine, one of their top medicines that they recommend and prescribe here is for their locals. I think the top one they push is risperidone. They damn near out of that. You know what I'm saying? So that it's crazy. It's crazy. So even though they may have a children's psychiatric hospital there, the fact that they've been out, they shut this thing down for 4 months, man. And I heard, from my understanding, it ain't the first time that this has happened. I just can't. I mean, I've been so stressed out these last few. I can't. I can't do this no more with Mexico. You know what I mean? My baby health is at stake, and so we got to get that. We got to get her safe and stable, and get her going well. So thank y'all for watching. That's the recent update. Stay tuned. I'll keep you posted.